So, Raj, what do you think? Pull one.
Well, one of the first films I think I ever saw was this Kameradschaft by Joseph Pabst.
Oh, and here's another one. Come and See, one of our favorites. We had the pleasure of talking with the cinematographer for the podcast, and it was amazing how they made the movie. Yeah.
But it's a very strange cover. It's an interesting film because at some points the main character, this kid, is looking straight at the lens, and at other times it feels like a documentary, filming the horrors of the Nazi regime. Tokyo Olympiad, right, which was directed by Kon Ichigawa, and on the famous Japanese cinematographer Keizo Miyagawa, he was overseeing the photography of it. Now, Kon Ichigawa did two of my favourite movies, Fires on the Plain, and he did another film called Burmese Harp, both set in the World War II. And it's so interesting that Kon Ichigawa made those two films, and then he made Tokyo Olympiad, which is one of the best documentaries about sport ever made, I think. Fires on the Plain.
Yeah.
And Burmese Harp. Look at that.
Roger
Well
is
done.
happy. I'm sorry, but I've got to pick this one.
What's that?
Sid and Nancy.
Oh.
We saw it recently because we remastered it here, and it's just an incredible document of the times,
period,
I think.
yeah.
And
Well, it felt very real because I remember shooting concerts with these punks in Hammersmith and having to wear a plastic mac because they were all spitting at the stage, and I was on the stage doing handheld of Gary and the Sex Pistols, and we were all getting covered in. Oh, it was not very nice. Let's change this. Look at this look. Circle Rouge.
Ah, yes. Melville.
Now this, to me, is probably one of the, apart from Tarkovsky, probably my all-time great director, Jean-Pierre Melville. But there's an early film he did, Silence de la Mer, also shot by Henri Decaille, one of their first, first collaboration. Afterwards they did Le Doulos and all sorts of things. But this one is absolutely magnificent. It all takes place in a small cottage during the war, where this German soldier, Lieutenant, I think, is billeted to stay with this old man and his granddaughter. And these two, the old man and the granddaughter, refused to talk to the German, the Nazi, until right at the end. But you have to watch it to find what happens, because very little happens. It's all about this relationship. And it's very, very moving. It's one of the best war films ever made that all takes place in the front room of a little cottage in France.
Yeah, it is a great film. The Seventh Seal. I'm sorry, but I love this film. Every Halloween when I was growing up, we would watch this. It was great. So before I really even understood it, not that I understand it now, but I would watch it. And I have not seen the restoration, so I really want to.
Yes, brilliant movie. There's so many great movies here. L'Avventura. You know, there's something about this film that is not literal. Yeah, there's a story, but it's a story about a relationship, and it's a story about a man who's trying to find himself. But so much is built up through the images and the pacing and it's real movies. You know, if I could describe what I love about this movie, then I'd write a book. But you can't describe it because it's a movie. A movie can do something that no other medium can do. And when it works, it really works. And when it really works, it's called L'Avventura. We have missed out the all-time great film director.
Which is?
Andrei Tarkovsky.
Well,
what do you mean?
Here's Mirror.
There's Mirror.
And there should be Solaris.
And there is Solaris.
Yeah. Solaris, which is great.
I think this Solaris is really interesting. Solaris was made just a little bit later than Kubrick's 2001. And Tarkovsky said he could never do 2001, but he wanted to do a film that was really something that was more that emotionally engaged with you. He felt Kubrick's film was rather cold and a piece of wonderful technology, but had little to engage you with emotionally. And personally, I think he's absolutely right. I think his Solaris is the best science fiction film probably ever made, and the most profound. Here we are. We found something tucked away in the far corner down below where you could hardly see it, which is one of, to me, not only a great film, but probably the best black and white cinematography I've ever seen by Conrad Hall.
And also, it's just amazing the transitions between the scenes, the thought that was put behind it.
Yeah, some of the best transitions. But also, I mean, the cinematography is wonderful because he shoots the desert landscape like you've never seen it before. But then he also shoots the murder and the darkness and the flashlights and the tension in that and the horror of it in just an amazing way. I think if anybody wants to watch one movie for cinematography, to understand what cinematography is, it would be In Cold Blood. Really.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've said it all now.
Yeah, really.
In Cold Blood, In Cold Blood, In Cold Blood, and Andrei Tarkovsky. What more can you say?